A duel unfolded between two people as the blonde man arrogantly declared, "Do you really think a mere commoner like you can defeat me?" From the very beginning, the outcome already seemed decided. As the battle began, the blonde man attacked, shouting, "Watch closely, Lilith. Watch as the fool who dared defy me, Weiss, is humiliated in front of everyone." Yet, in the very next moment, he was struck down and lay on the ground, defeated by a black swordsman. That swordsman was Vincent, the infamous Villainess noble. He was the one who eventually lost to the protagonist, Alan, and from that point on, lost everything. In the end, Vincent was used as a shield by the Demon King and died miserably. But alongside that, the player controlling the game also died. This was how the main character was reincarnated into the body of the villainous noble Weiss Vincent. When the transfer took place, he opened his eyes to see a girl crying. The shady Weiss Vincent licked his lips as the girl stood tied up in front of him. The main character, now in Weiss's body, immediately showed a change in expression. He looked around blankly, unable to comprehend what was happening, thinking, where am I? What the hell is going on? Just a moment ago, he had been playing a game. But now, before he knew it, a woman was tied in front of him in a humiliating position. Looking toward Weiss, the girl asked, "What's wrong?" The main character gritted his teeth and thought, "Such an incredibly beautiful girl, but I feel like I've seen her somewhere before. And this name Weiss Vincent." He panicked. "Wait, could it be? I've become Weiss Vincent, the villainous noble, the abusive scum. There's no mistake. This is the villain of the school game Noblesse Oblige. I've played this game multiple times." Weiss Vincent is the character who stands in the way of the protagonist, Alan, during the school arc. He is the lowest kind of trash, using his noble power to mercilessly torment the weak. After being thoroughly defeated by Alan, he lost everything, then ended up serving the Demon King as a disposable pawn, and finally died. Realizing the girl tied before him was Lilith Scarlet, the maid of the house, he recalled, "Come to think of it, wasn't tormenting Lilith supposed to be his hobby? What kind of lunatic does that? What a monster." Grinding his teeth, he muttered internally, "She's such a cute girl. Let me untie her quickly, but wait, if I suddenly act kind, won't it seem suspicious? She already seems wary of me, but I can't just leave her tied up like this." As he untied her, he said aloud, "Lilith, your neck." He worried deeply, thinking, "Poor thing, trembling so much like this. Should I give it a try?" Using his powers, he cast a healing spell on her. She gasped in shock, but the bruises on her skin disappeared. This was the hidden healing magic that had been available from the beginning of the game, though the developers had concealed it. "Good thing I read about this in the strategy guide." Startled by her gaze, he stammered excuses. "Don't get the wrong idea, I just wanted to practice healing magic. It's not like I did it for you or anything." With tears brimming in her eyes, Lilith said softly, "Thank you very much, Weiss-sama. You truly surprised me. I didn't know you could use healing magic." Even though everything had been his fault originally, she still thanked him. She had been abused to the point of becoming disobedient. Looking at her with a darkened expression, he whispered, "Lilith, I'm sorry for everything I've done until now. I won't do it anymore." She looked at him with a puzzled expression. The scene shifted to the dining hall. The butler, the long-time servant of the Vincent family, placed all the dishes on the table. Normally, Weiss would sneer, say the food tasted awful, and toss the plate onto the floor. But this time, the main character addressed him differently. "I've been wrong all this time, treating food so carelessly. Today's seasoning was perfect." Hearing these words from his young master, the butler teared up, crying, "Such gracious words, I am deeply honored." Every servant's eyes filled with tears. "Our young master has changed so much, he's wonderful." Meanwhile, the main character thought, "All I did was compliment the food, but they're acting like Weiss suddenly matured into a saint. Do they really not notice I'm a completely different person inside?" The old Weiss must have been a truly awful human being. Opening the drawer in his room, he resolved, "From now on, I will never make these poor girls cry again. First, I'll get rid of this stick." Holding the cruel stake, he declared, "I must change even more. As a noble, I'm required to enter the Good Academy at the age of 15. The entrance exam is just 2 years away." Originally, after losing to the protagonist during the combat test, Weiss's reputation began to plummet, and his downfall started there. But if he could change that outcome, perhaps the future could be rewritten. In that case, I have no choice. I must face it head on. Burning the stick, he vowed, "Even if it takes all my strength, I will avoid the path to ruin." Days later, drenched in sweat, Weiss sat on a tree trunk with his sword when a voice startled him. "Weiss." It was Milka, an S-ranked adventurer. She glared at him. "Are you even taking this seriously?" "I am, but I don't think I can move anymore." "How about a short break?" he replied. She sneered. "I see. In that case, rest all you like, that is. If you want to be called a loser the moment you enroll." With no choice, he forced himself to resume swinging his sword. "I used my family's connections to hire the strongest teacher." This was Milka Vidas, originally appearing only near the end of the game. She was known as the swordswoman closest to being the strongest in the royal capital. "Forget that I'm a noble. Train me mercilessly," he had told her. but she turned out to be terrifyingly sadistic. Soon, Lilith entered the training grounds, calling out, "Waste-sama." He shows him the item he requested. "Thank you, Lilith." "What does this inscription mean?" she asked. He answered quietly, "It means, I will do my best even if it kills me." Noblesse oblige was a death game, a super high difficulty that could only be cleared through endless repetition. One moment of carelessness could mean instant expulsion or worse. Not a single second could be wasted. He has never trained his body, even including his past life. Yet the truth was, it was exhausting beyond belief. Still, basic stamina was crucial for learning both swordsmanship and magic. His daily routine became endless practice, sword forms at dawn, running until his legs gave out, brutal muscle training from morning to night. Day after day, it continued without pause. By evening, the butler announced, as instructed by young master, "Tonight's menu is packed with protein. Sorry for troubling you even though you're so busy," the main character said sincerely. 2 weeks passed since the start of his training. Injuries could be healed with recovery magic, but to truly build his body, nutrition was just as important. With Seabass's devoted support, he somehow endured the harsh regimen, even pushing into overwork. 3 weeks passed. Training was so grueling that a single day felt like a month. Before he realized it, the sun would set again and again. Finally, as he grew used to the physical strain, he decided to summon his magic teacher. "Milk Sensei's training is strict enough already. I really hope the magic teacher is kind," he muttered to himself. The butler called her in. As Wace wondered nervously what kind of teacher she might be, a woman in a witch's hat entered. "Nice to meet you, Wace." She took off her hat, and he saw it was Milkavitas. She introduced herself, and the main character, on his hands and knees, banged his head on the ground, saying, "Not again." She told him she was not only great with a sword, but also a master of magic. She greeted him and asked why she kept showing up in the same way. He called his butler and complained that he had asked for a kind teacher. The butler said Milk was a genius who could use 2 of the 4 main magic types. She grinned and asked if he wanted her to be gentle. He was thrilled and asked if she meant it. She smiled and said to trust her. She claimed she was a professional, but her words were empty. She yelled at him not to close his eyes and to use more magic power. He was under a waterfall, his eyes in pain, wondering where her kindness was, and if this training was harder than sword practice. She told him to keep going for 2 more hours, explaining that to use magic, he needed mana, and the only way to get more mana was to train every day until he fainted. The main character passed out. He thinks, no way. Then Lilith dragged him out of the water. From that day, besides basic magic training, he also started practicing with wooden swords. He got hit, hurt, and fell. As the instructor said, he still had many weaknesses. Lilith healed him when he was injured, and said she did support him with healing magic too. She called him and told him to try his best. Milk said he was a good punching bag. Lying on the ground bruised, he felt strange. In his past life, he was lazy, gave up easily, and ran from problems. Now, after 2 months of tough training, he was in better shape. Why was he working so hard now? What was different? The instructor patted his head with a happy, blushing face, saying he achieved his goal in 2 hours, a big improvement. He was happy too and asked if this was her gentle teaching. She said yes. She did pat his head each time he reached a goal. He thought the training was hard, but the reward was small. She disagreed, and Lilith brought lunch looking cute but annoyed. Milk said she was just giving tough training, but others gave him rewards. She told him not to forget the support that helped him keep going. He looked at Lilith, who didn't know why he was staring. He decided to thank everyone. Lilith for always being there, Seabass for feeding him, and Milk for making him stronger. Without them, he wouldn't have come this far. In his past life, he only cared about himself, so no one helped or corrected him. He needed both kind and tough love. From now on, he wouldn't live just for himself. He didn't want to fail or die. He stood up and promised to make Lilith and others proud and avoid ruin. Another day of hard training began, his face showing how tough it was. The next goal was 4 hours. He did keep going until he couldn't. Milk said surviving was still hard, no matter the support. The scene changed to League Bell Town, the first town in the game. He heard people shouting about cheating, and thought the town was still unsafe. He asked Milk, who was with him, about his opponent. After 3 months of training, he was assigned a practical test in this city. He was scared, seeing Milk's cold smile. She told him not to worry, she did pick a great opponent. Lilith cheered that he did win. But he was shaking, not feeling calm. Some people made rude comments about Lilith, calling him a cocky kid with pretty girls. He warned them to watch their words, thinking Milk might attack them. League Bell Town was a bad place, full of thugs. He had to protect Lilith, no matter what. Lilith called the men annoying. Milk told her to ignore them, saying they weren't worth their time. Lilith agreed cheerfully, But he felt her anger and wondered if he imagined it. They saw the Adventurers Guild, full of tough-looking thugs and magicians. Some thugs, the Bowden brothers, told him to step outside. Milk explained they did terrible things like robbery, kidnapping, and murder, and got away with it by paying bribes. But the police who took bribes were arrested. So now they had to deal with these brothers. They were perfect for a real fight. Milk asked, "Right, Weiss?" He agreed but thought he should hold back. He wanted to run, but with Milk there, he couldn't. She said he had strong will but no real fighting experience. Real combat was something he did face eventually, and now was a good time. If he missed this chance, he might face his first fight alone later, and many died from lack of experience. She was there now and would help if things got bad. He should fight with confidence. Tears in his eyes. He called Milk reassuring, but then she and Lilith disappeared. The brothers grabbed him. He panicked, asking where she went, feeling tricked. How could she tell him to be confident? One brother told him to go to the alley. He was scared but couldn't back down now. He had to prepare. The goal was to cut off their arms, not kill them, but it was 3 against 1. He wasn't sure he could win, even in a fair fight. These brothers seemed like punks but were skilled. If he got dragged to the alley, a fight would start. He needed a plan. Before the fight, Milk had told him to follow her teachings. Milk, Sensei and Lilith watched him from a bar nearby. Lilith said, "Milk, Sensei, you tricked me." "That's mean," Milk replied. "If I don't do this, he won't try hard enough. Practice where someone saves you isn't real practice. Don't worry, I'll help if it gets too dangerous." Then she fell asleep at the table. Lilith knew trouble was coming. They were in a small space with rough men behind them. The men said, "Aren't you the kid from town?" Lilith turned with cold eyes. They came closer, saying, "Wow, she's so pretty. Perfect timing. We're thieves who run this place. We needed girls to hang out with tonight." Many girls had been kidnapped by these men. Lilith's face turned dark and scary. In the next moment, blood splashed not from Lilith, but from the main character. He had cut off the third brother's hands. The brother screamed. The main character held his sword. Remembering Milk, Sensei's lesson, move first. Surprise your enemy. The first hit is stronger than any attack. Even a magic master dies if hit before they can protect themselves. A fighter dies if their neck breaks before they're ready. But now, he was in trouble. Both brothers ran at him. He kicked one in the face while the other swung a machete. The main character drew his sword. He used to avoid decisions, thinking tomorrow would fix things. But time didn't solve anything. Now he had to decide fast. With fierce moves, he cut off the second brother's hands to survive. All 3 brothers were defeated. Sweating, he said, "I won. If I did gone to the alley, they did have used mana to get stronger. If all 3 were ready, I did have lost. I won because I moved first." Someone behind him said full points. It was Lilith and Milk, Sensei. Milk said, "I did give you 70 points. If it was me, I did have cut an arm in the guild. That's being proactive." Lilith cheered, 200 points from me, Weiss, Sama, he shouted. "Why did you disappear?" Milk laughed. "Sorry." He noticed blood on Lilith's clothes and asked, "Is that blood?" She hid it, saying, "It's nothing, just your imagination." In the bar, the kidnapped girls and bartender looked scared. All the thieves were beaten badly and arrested, over 20 of them. No one died, but they couldn't speak. The Bowden brothers were also arrested, thanks to Miss Vincent. Someone said, "Weiss, Vincent seems important in his story." The main character wondered, "Thieves, what's that about?" Later, letter and money arrived at the Vincent family. Another day of tough training came. A year and 6 months had passed since training started. Milk, Sensei, watched, thinking it was the usual hard work. The main character ran out of energy and fainted from using too much mana. A log fell toward his head, but he broke it with one punch. Things like that didn't bother him anymore. He did grow strong, and Milk, Sensei, was proud. He said, "I can sense enemies through walls. I feel mana in my body. I've grown a lot." The butler asked, "Is magic training going well?" "Master," he replied, "yes, but Milk, his training is so hard." The butler said, "Milk, Sensei pushes you because your talent is special. Most people use 1 magic element. Even Milk, an S-rank adventurer, uses only 2. But you can use all 4. That's very rare." The butler added, "If you did stayed lazy, your talent wouldn't have grown. I was shocked by your carelessness before, but you've worked hard without giving up. You're amazing now, young master." The main character cried, "I'm sorry." Lilith stepped in. "Stop hitting his nose with the wooden sword," Sensei said. "Weiss, you've been practicing magic secretly, haven't you?" He said, "Sorry, I wanted to show you when it was ready. It's still not perfect." He used his light and dark magic, special elements beyond the 4. Milk asked, "Why hide this?" He said, "I wanted to show you when it was done. It's not complete yet, but I can do it now. He combined light and dark magic into his own spell. At a big party in a mansion that night, he yawned. Lilith asked, Wace, did you stay up late? He said, sorry, yawning isn't right here. She asked, are you tired from yesterday's show? He said, no, I'm fine. I finished my magic light for healing. Dark for poison curses. It's called Dark Heal. He explained, Dark Heal heals friends nearby and hurts enemies I choose. But it uses so much mana, I was exhausted after. Lilith sighed. I still need more practice before my mana improves. Wace barely had time to respond before she added cheerfully, then to wake you up, Wace Sama, I will fetch some strong drink. Wait, that is not. He reached out, but she slipped away too quickly. A noble watching from the side thought in surprise, she moves like a trained assassin. Wace frowned inwardly. The Vincent family rumors say they hide shadow guards. That cannot possibly be true. Before he could dwell on it, someone called out from behind Wace. He turned. A girl stood there, the one he had glimpsed earlier. Cynthia, daughter of Countess Violeta, with bright scarlet eyes and hair that seemed to catch the light. This was none other than Cynthia Violeta, the heroine of the tale. She smiled warmly. It's been some time, Wace. Then with a teasing tilt of her lips she added, what is wrong? You look like you've just mashed a goblin into stew. His face darkened. Yeah, something like that. In the story he remembered, Wace was despised by nearly everyone. Cynthia most of all. She was destined to be the one who in the end cut him down without mercy. As a Vincent, maybe. I do not belong here at all, he thought grimly. Still to meet Cynthia before the academy even starts, stay calm. Right now. She does not hate me yet. But then came the reminder, fragments of the old Wace memories. Blurred indistinct except for one certainty. The previous Wace had wronged her terribly. Her smile faded. I have not forgotten. You dare show your face at this party? Unbelievable. Wace's stomach twisted. Damn it. Just how badly did he treat her? He bent at a deep angle, almost 90 degrees. I can only beg your forgiveness, Lady Cynthia. My behavior before was shameful for a noble. I regret it deeply. He had no expectation of kindness, yet Cynthia's eyes softened a little. I understand. If this lightens my fate, I will take it, Wace thought, already planning to leave. But when he turned, Cynthia's hand caught his. At that exact moment, Lilith reappeared with a bottle of liquor. Her eyes widened, noticing Cynthia's fingers around Wace's. With a calm but firm voice she asked, would you dance with me? In the middle, Wace found himself on the dance floor, clumsy and flushed. Cynthia's gaze lingered on him as the music played. The air feels nice, doesn't it? The tea is smooth and the birds are singing, Cynthia said with a faint blush. You look troubled, Cynthia whispered. But I've noticed you have changed. I even heard about your training before enrollment. Her voice softened. You said your memory is hazy about that day, isn't it? Yes, he admitted uneasily. As they moved, she asked. And about me, did you forget you once said you liked me? Wace's face burned as applause rose around them. Cynthia laughed lightly. Ah, the song is over. Shame. Until next time, Wace Vincent. That day Wace realized she had stolen a piece of his heart. But not far away, his father Agato Vincent had seen everything. Later a letter arrived. Dinner with Cynthia at our estate. What tonight? Wace panicked as the household rushed to prepare. Meanwhile, Cynthia herself puzzled over the invitation. That old man, what scheme is he pulling now? Wace thought. He wanted to see Cynthia, but dread filled him as well. She was destined for the true protagonist, Alan. If Wace interfered, the whole story's path could unravel. If I change the story too much, I won't be able to follow the scenario. Even my fight with Alan might change. And stealing the heroine would ruin everything. He thought, if she hates me, it's bad. If she likes me too much, it's also bad. I must stay at the perfect distance. Cynthia called. Once you said you fell in love with me at first sight. Did you forget? Wace remembered. Back then he was too arrogant, so she disliked it. But now, after his sincere apology, she blushed and said, even I wouldn't be against it. Wace was stunned. This noble girl has such a soft side, it's scary. He knew in the original story Cynthia fell for Alan very fast, but now she seemed to be falling for him instead. I must lower her affection, but she's already crossing into obsession. Cynthia said, your white side is cute, Wace. Then Lilith appeared, startling him. Would you like a refill, Wace? Sama, she asked. He thought, this is bad. I made such a pathetic moan. Maybe she'll hate me for it. But Cynthia only said, Wace Sama is so cute. He groaned, hopeless. I need to do something fast. Finally, Cynthia said, you know about today's matter from your father, right? Wace was confused. She explained, it's about our engagement. This dinner party is for our introduction. Our parents decided it. But after talking with you today, I've decided to agree. Cynthia. Anyway, about Wace and Cynthia's engagement, I acted fast and solved it without hesitation. That fool Wace could already be happy. In a children's park, the bodyguard asked, "You're doing this with your son's approval?" "Right, sir." The father replied, "I'm his father. I know what he wants just by looking at his face. Stop complaining and help me with the tunnel operation." At Wace's house, Lady Cynthia was about to leave. Wace shouted at his father, "What do you mean by engagement, Cynthia?" Standing beside him, gave him the letter wait. My father arranged not just a tea party, but an engagement with Cynthia. Nobles often let parents decide marriage partners. But this isn't just political, it looks like he made this deal with the Volita family only to make me happy. In the original story, Wace's father hardly appeared and didn't come home. Wace never knew what kind of man he was. Now he realized my father is the kind of parent who spoils his child too much, even destroying things for me. This might be the biggest reason Wace became such a villainous noble. Cynthia, with tears in her eyes, cried out, "Please be happy." Then she ran away at full speed. Wace thought, "She's so fast, wait, what's wrong with her?" Suddenly Milk Sensei appeared. She said, "Today's training is chasing Lilith." Wace was confused. She explained, "Wace, do you know why Lilith cried? Because the man she supported for a year and a half was suddenly taken away by a noble girl. Even if the engagement wasn't your decision, you can't ignore Lilith's pain. Go back to the mansion with her. If you can't, I'll punish you with death." Wace quickly said, "Yes," and ran after Lilith, "If you understand." "Then hurry up, boy," Milk shouted. Wace thought, "She's right. Lilith has always been by my side. Of course she would be shocked by this engagement. I owe her so much. If not for her, I did still be lazy. She's the reason I could do my best." He called, "Lilith, please wait." But Lilith sped up, "Please leave me alone." He panted, "I'm running with all I've got, but I still can't catch you." She leapt over a small river. He followed, shouting, "Please, just listen." She replied, "It's fine, Wace-sama. I'm just a maid after all." He shouted, "You're not just a maid, you're precious to me. The engagement was my father's idea, not mine. Also, do you know about the servant system at Noblesse Magic Academy? Only high-ranking nobles can bring one servant. I plan to take you with me because I trust you the most." Lilith turned back with tears. "Me? The most? Does that mean you want me?" Out of breath, Wace answered, "Yes, that's why I'm chasing you." She asked, "Will you keep chasing me forever?" He gasped. Lilith smiled softly, "I understand. If you insist that much, then I'll be your mistress." But ahead, Wace was about to fall off a cliff. Lilith jumped to save him, hugging him tightly as they fell into the forest. She whispered, "Please relax, Wace-sama. I'll do my best. I'll never tell anyone about this. It's our secret love." Blushing, she held him as they both fell into the water. So now, Wace was engaged to Cynthia and also secretly involved with Lilith. Wace thought, "The other day so much happened, I got engaged to Cynthia and also ended up as Lilith's secret lover. It's all too ridiculous. Thanks, Father, for this mess. When you return from your work, I'll have plenty of complaints for you." Milk Sensei interrupted, "Enough of basic training. Time for practical sparring. Lady Cynthia, Lilith, have you ever sparred before?" Cynthia said, "Of course." Lilith added, "Yes." Wace was shocked. "Lilith has," he noticed sweat on her face. Wace thought, things are only getting more complicated. Both Cynthia and Lilith joined training for the entrance test in a few months. They even asked Milk Sensei to train Wace. Cynthia was already strong enough to pass easily. Lilith didn't even need to take the test. Wace had planned to make her his attendant. But she wanted to study and support him too. So he allowed her to take the test with him. Neither of them really needs training, Wace thought. If Cynthia trains even more, she'll become stronger than in the original story. Milk threw a sword at Wace. "Your turn," she said. "First, fight Cynthia." Wace and Cynthia stood facing each other. Milk warned, "Just because she's your fiancée, don't get distracted and hold back." Cynthia teased, being captivated. "Are you?" Wace blushed. Lilith said, "Do your best." Milk said, "I don't need to say begin, right?" Before Wace could think, Cynthia dashed at him with amazing speed, launching a fierce attack. Wace struggled to defend. Cynthia's eyes sparkled as she fought. Wace braced himself, his power pressing against the ground. Milk said, "Didn't I tell you, the first move is the most important?" Cynthia cried out, frustrated, "I spar at home often. But this is the first time someone dodged me so easily." She had a bump on her head as Lilith healed her. Cynthia thanked Lilith warmly. Then Cynthia asked Wace, "How did you rid my high-speed movement? I was really fast." Milk Sensei didn't answer, uninterested. Milk said, "Let's see if that was luck or not. Next, you fight Lilith." "What again? I have to fight?" He asked. "You're not that tired, are you? Stop whining and fight," Milk replied. He thought, no way, fight Lilith, she's just a maid. But then he remembered her actions. They were not like a maid at all. If he lowered his guard, he felt like he would die. Suddenly, she vanished. The ground shook as she attacked with godlike speed. He used the dark energy in his eyes and blocked her strikes one by one. She tried again, but he blocked her blade. Milk smiled. So, you can follow Lilith's movements. That means seeing through Lady Cynthia's speed wasn't just luck. He thought, what's going on? In the original story, Lilith was only Wace's helper. She was never this strong. Lilith had only started magic recently, but her speed was greater than his. She also knew sword skills. If I don't fight seriously, I'll lose, he realized. He created a ball of dark energy in his hand and used his original spell Dark Heal. Lilith thought, that's Wace Sama's original magic. The spell healed allies inside the circle, but hurt enemies with cursed damage. She felt she had to escape the circle quickly. Wace dropped his wooden sword to cast magic with both hands, leaving himself wide open. Lilith thought, this is my chance. If I just run away, I'll be attacked again. I can only fight close up, so I must strike now. She rushed at him. I'll take this opening, she shouted. But Wace smirked. A glowing barrier appeared, blocking her wooden sword instantly. She jumped back, shocked it bounced off. She said, good. Wace answered, this is absolute barrier, my magic that mixes dark permanence and light protection. Plus, with the dark eye, I can defend against your speed as long as I have mana. Milk asked, so Lilith, what will you do? Lilith tensed, but then collapsed on the ground, unconscious. Milk rushed over. Cancel your magic, quick, he ordered. Wace stopped the spell, and they checked on her. When she woke up, Lilith whispered, it's my complete defeat, Wace-sama. Sorry, are you okay? He asked. Milk gave her a potion. She'll be fine. It was a rare potion. Then he turned to Wace. What was that magic? I knew it drained energy, but Lilith fainted in seconds. Was there another effect? Wace explained calmly, yes. Dark Heal lowers physical strength, drains vigor, vitality, mana, magic defense, physical defense, attack speed and movement. Since Lilith's mana is small, she ran out fast and collapsed. But I'm different. I can add all the stolen stats to myself. The more enemies inside the circle, the stronger I get. Allies I accept also get stronger. He said it so simply, not noticing everyone's shocked faces. They thought, he's incredible. Wace thought, this is the perfect time to say the line everyone dreams of after reincarnating. He was about to speak when Milk stopped him. Duel with me again, she said. Wace froze. This is death, he thought. Milk grinned. You've grown a lot. I haven't felt this excited in years. You'll take responsibility, calm me down with that power of yours. He knew he was doomed, and Milk destroyed him. From then, Cynthia and Lilith joined in, training under Milk's harsh methods every day. Misunderstandings between them all stayed unresolved. Days and months passed quickly. Finally, the entrance exam day arrived at Noblesse Magic Academy, the kingdom's biggest and most famous school. Someone shouted, hey, you idiot. What the hell are you staring at? It was Alan, the original protagonist, he said. I just thought you looked really big. I wasn't staring. The big man growled. So you were staring. He tried to punch Alan, but the main character stopped him instantly and glared at him. Ouch. Who the hell are you? The big man asked. People around them whispered, hey, isn't that Wace? The infamous noble who abuses people. Looking at Cynthia and Lilith, they guessed, then that girl must be Lady Cynthia of the Velita family. So the engagement rumors are true. But who's the other pretty girl, showing up with two beauties for the exam? That guy's insane. The big man realized Wace was from the cruel noble family Vincent. He fell to the ground. Begging, please, anything but abuse. I'm sorry, the main character thought, like hell I'd do that to you. Just get lost. The man ran away quickly. Wace sighed. It's been a while since I reincarnated, but this body's bad reputation is still alive and strong. I'll need to act friendly and slowly change how people see me. 2 years of training had passed. Finally, the entrance exam day at Noblesse Magic Academy arrived. Wace had one goal: to defeat a certain man. That man appeared behind him. Thanks. You really saved me, the boy said. It was Alan, your Wace, right? Let's both do our best. I hope we make it. He offered his hand to shake. Wace looked at his hand, but before he could respond, the bell rang. Lilith said, that's the warning bell. Cynthia added, the exam is starting. Come on, Alan, we need to hurry too. The girl next to Alan nodded. Right. As they left, Alan asked, by the way, where are Duke and Cheryl? They went ahead while you were caught up in that mess, she answered. Wace thought, what is this strange feeling? When I almost shook Alan's hand, I felt uneasy. Just talking to him makes me uncomfortable. Why? I don't hate him, my goal is to beat him in the exam, but after that, I plan to stay friendly, though at a distance. The announcer called out, For the combat test, everyone please change into these robes. They're handmade by past students. They'll reduce damage from magic and physical attacks. Wace's chest hurt with unease. What's wrong with me? I feel this need to crush him, crush everyone. The announcer continued, you win if you knock your opponent out of the ring or make them surrender. If it gets too dangerous, I will stop it. Any questions? The big man raised his hand. Yeah. These robes are too small. The instructor frowned. It's too late to complain now. Another boy said, mine's too small too and it stinks. Like I said, stop whining. You're huge. Are you even 15? If you pass, you'll get new uniforms in your size. Deal with it. Lilith whispered to Cynthia. It's impressive they prepared robes for everyone. Cynthia replied, that's because many students gave theirs up and ran away. Life here is hell. Wace thought, so it's true. Noblesse Magic Academy is the hardest and most brutal school in the kingdom. If you can't keep up, you're expelled. Some students don't even survive the training, leaving their uniforms behind forever. Still getting in isn't that hard. Even the lazy guy passed in the original story. Rain began falling from the clouds. The announcer shouted, next match number 99 Wace Vincent vs number 97 Alan. The two boys stared at each other. Students muttered, great, now it's raining. The instructor said, nothing we can do. Everyone not in the match moved to the stands. Alan smirked. Never thought I'd fight you in this mock battle. Let's make it good, Wace. Don't lose. His friends cheered, do your best. Why, Sama? Someone muttered as the referee raised his voice. Now then, let the mock duel begin. Not even a minute passed before Wace overwhelmed Alan, like a monster unleashed. He unleashed his own unique spell Dark Heal, using it again and again with cruel precision. Alan's cries of pain echoed through the hall. His childhood friends stood frozen in shock, while Lilith and Cynthia looked on, unable to hide their alarm. Even the referee himself seemed drained, struggling to keep the match under control. Wace clenched his teeth. Damn it. As I thought, I can't keep this in check. This urged this burning desire to crush him completely. The referee, sensing the pressure, trembled. What is this feeling? Could this terrifying presence really be coming from Wace? Why does it almost feel exhilarating? The referee finally shouted, Wace, is this power truly yours? Is this what's inside you? With Wace's dark bangs shadowing his face and his unyielding expression, those watching could hardly bear to look. Later, after the exams ended, at a round table sat three figures. Milk Augustus and the loyal butler Cybus Aiden were silent. Confronted by an elder who broke the tension, who could have predicted that Wace Vincent would achieve top marks across every trial? Asked Giles. Headmaster of the prestigious academy, tell me honestly who raised this boy. Neither the butler nor Milk found words. At last, Instructor Darius stepped forward. Headmaster. While Wace's performance was extraordinary, technically, he hasn't broken records. Have you forgotten last year's first-place prodigy? He tied with her. Let's not exaggerate. Milk finally said, I only gave him some basic drills. Nothing more. Sebas added, I simply ensured his meals were prepared. He requested plenty of protein, so I provided it, that's all. Darius exploded, slamming the table. Don't joke with us. This boy has mastered all four elements, plus creation, light, and darkness. You expect me to believe this came from casual training and food? Milk gulped from a bottle. I really don't know what else to say. You're drinking here, in front of the headmaster. Someone snapped. She brought it herself, Sebas muttered, draping his coat over her as she dozed off. The headmaster sighed. Darius, calm yourself. Milk has always been like this. But this is cruel. Darius shot back. Alan nearly died at that boy's hands, and Alan is my disciple, with talent beyond most. Grinding his teeth, he added, that Wace Vincent will become a problem. Still clinging to jealousy, Milk sneered. Ugly. Darius. Even on the battlefield, you sound like a bitter child. Sparks of hostility crackled between them until Sebas intervened. Enough. Both of you. The headmaster's concern is clear, but rest assured Weiss will not abuse his strength. He is different now. He works, he struggles, he grows. He strives to be a man both courageous and noble. Soon after, Cynthia, Lilith, and Wace officially entered the academy as students. Their instructor Chloe greeted them warmly. First, congratulations to you all. I am Chloe, your class mentor. I look forward to guiding you. The lecture hall bustled with new faces. Wace, Lilith, and Cynthia prepared themselves, but Alan glared darkly from across the room. Chloe snapped her fingers, and glowing numbers appeared before each student's eyes. A dazzling light read 1000. These, she explained, are your starting points. They will follow you until graduation and shape your progress here. The room filled with whispers. Points? What do they mean? The academy's trial had only just begun. Everyone starts with 1000 points. the instructor announced. But your exam performance changes that, and you've been granted 2,000 points. A ripple of shock spread through the hall. Murmurs and worried looks followed as students processed the unexpected boost. Wait, these are like grades, right? Doubling someone's score, like that isn't fair to the rest. What are these points exactly? Please explain properly, sensei, someone demanded. The teacher adjusted her glasses and met the main character's gaze rather than a long explanation. She said, you'll learn faster by doing. Pick up wooden swords and head out to the training field. The students' faces fell. We'll begin a combat assessment. I welcomed you here today. Yes, but I never promised to shepherd you all the way to graduation. Shock turned to dread fight until someone's points hit 0, she added calmly, and the tense silence that followed felt like a storm on the horizon. Back inside, a handsome student introduced himself, leaning forward with a bright grin. Your waist. I saw your mock battle, incredible. They say that was a record score. Cynthia and Lilith watched him with interest. The original story's golden boy and top graduate now found himself at 0 points, expelled after his match. Chloe's voice cut through. Lucius Vincent, you've been dismissed. Wace wondered who had bested him. The answer was Alan, the same rival, who had been utterly pummeled in their earlier clash. Later, while eating in the cafeteria, Wace pushed his food around the plate and thought, what now? He had tried hard to follow the story's script, avoid needless chaos and keep Alan contained. But events were slipping sideways. Cynthia, now somehow acting like his fiancé, smiled across the table, and the world felt oddly sweet. Lilith and Lucius, both expected to stay until graduation, had already been forced out on day 1. Everything was unraveling into unexpected disorder. Worse, darker impulses from the original Wace surfaced in his mind. Ever since meeting Alan, a voice inside him urged aggression, not just toward Alan, but toward everyone nearby. He had meant to play the part, win people's trust slowly, and keep the original plot intact. Instead, he felt a rising hunger to crush everyone in his path. If he surrendered to that urge, he risked becoming the hated figure from the original tale. You want to crush them all? Cynthia asked, eyes level and unflinching. He blinked, surprised at how calm she sounded. This is no Bless Academy, she reminded him. It's a place where weakness is punished. I worried about you. You were always too soft in a world that chews up the merciful. After seeing you fight, though, I see you differently. Her words left him speechless. The cook bustled over more pot pie. He asked, there's plenty? No, thank you, Cynthia said, and Lilith shook her head too. Lilith added with a shrug, competition's brutal if you choose to stand in it. You must be ruthless. But do what you want. I'll back you. Cynthia grinned, you're my fiancée. At least have the backbone to take others down. Hearing them, Wace felt unexpectedly buoyed. Their support cleared his head a little, though he wasn't sure how quickly he could accept what that support implied. Lilith suggested a silly compromise. If you're truly undecided, Sama, we could leave it to a coin toss. Wace considered it. The scenario is already half ruined, maybe fate should decide the rest. Before a decision could land, the cook shouted, I worked hard on this, finish it. A coin skittered across the cafeteria floor, glinting as it rolled to a stop. On one face was the kingdom's castle, on the other, a dragon, the emblem of the strongest. If it lands castle, heads. He thought, I'll fight the urge and try to keep the story on course, get along with Alan. If it's the dragon, tails. I'll give in and let the darker instincts take over. He held his breath as the coin settled. The coin spun, dropped, and was picked up by none other than Alan. Handing it back to the protagonist, he said, you dropped this. Then, with a grin, he added, sorry for the late introduction, but I've managed to enroll as well. Even after taking such a beating, I'm glad. I wanted to see you again. No, to be honest, I wanted to fight you again. The protagonist smiled while accepting the coin and replied, I see. Looks like fate has decided you're going to be crushed. As the tension grew between them, a cook happily served more food to a customer who praised his dish, tears welling in his eyes. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the protagonist was mercilessly defeating opponents one after another. That's enough, Chris, the teacher declared, halting the chaos. A girl collapsed on the platform, expelled. Another man, drenched in sweat, rushed forward only to be cut down and eliminated. Gustavo followed shortly after, expelled as well. The protagonist seemed more ruthless than ever. Screams echoed as Leo, Men, and Karuna were expelled in succession. Some sprawled on the ground, others buried deep into it. More names followed, one after another. Cynthia and Lilith, both flustered by the main character's relentless pace, commented, you've taken out 6 more rivals today. Positioning themselves at his sides, they drew the enemy's attention together. Roger that. I owe you one, Alan, the protagonist thought. Relieved thanks to you. I don't have to hold back anymore. Out loud, he declared, I'll crush every obstacle and tear this entire scenario apart. Back at the dormitory, a girl lay weakly on her bed, whispering, Karshia, even without me, you must keep going. I've already reached my limit. With only 22 points left, she pleaded, Someone, please help me. What future awaits me if I'm expelled? As the match concluded, the announcement declared Viz the victor. Team Wiz claimed victory. Lying on the ground, Viz and Alan glared at each other, hatred burning in their eyes. 1 month after enrollment, 10 students had already been expelled, 7 of them by Wiz alone. Whether in stealth, tracking, or defensive magic, he held the top rank in every field. Students whispered about him, stealing nervous glances. What is this guy? Is it his second life? What kind of training did he go through to get this strong? One muttered. Another pointed, he's childhood friends with Duke Billy and Shirley, even in yesterday's battle. You slipped through the magic threads like they weren't even there. Shirley remarked, and you flattened Alan instantly, snatching the flag before anyone even realized what happened. You're like a monster. His score was an astonishing 700 points, putting him first by an overwhelming margin. Just how much did you achieve in your past life? One asked. Shirley's glare silenced him. Later, Alan apologized to Cynthia and Wiz. Sorry, both of you. I lost to Wiz again. His childhood friend reassured him. Don't worry about it, Alan. But soon after, the girl fixed her eyes on the protagonist. As their gazes locked, he reflected, the old me would have taken out my anger in underhanded ways, which is why I was despised and ruined. But this time, I've let it out openly through these battles. I've done nothing shameful. There's no reason for anyone to hate me. Still, her hostile stare unsettled him. Please, Cheryl, don't look at me like that. His focus shifted when the teacher addressed another student. Cardius, if you fail to score in the next practical test, you know what will happen, don't you? The girl Cardia Violi answered calmly. Yes, I understand. The instructor dismissed her coldly. That's enough. I didn't ask how you felt. In the original timeline, Cardia was expelled after that very exam. Fueled by her frustration, she inspired her best friend to take things seriously and push toward graduation. That was the side story. Yet in this altered version, she left the academy quietly, without making a mark. For some reason, this bothered the protagonist. We see her lift her head as whispers circled behind her. Hey, Cardia, what's your plan for the next test? You know it's a tag battle. Right, the tension built as she prepared herself for what was to come. Do you even have a partner left? That clingy best friend of yours was already expelled, wasn't she? Her last battle was laughable. Wiz destroyed her so badly, she lost every point in a single match. Who does that? The group snickered. But their laughter died the moment they noticed Wiz himself standing just meters away. Fear washed over them like they had accidentally summoned a demon by speaking his name. His focus, however, was fixed on Cardia. For the next exam, he asked her calmly, would you like to team up with me? The question left Cardia speechless. Later, on a cliff, just beyond the academy walls, she finally confronted him. Wiz, why me? I'm practically about to be expelled, and you're the academy's top first year. We're not a match. Besides, you already have Cynthia. As soon as she said it, Cardia felt an icy gaze stabbing at her from the woods. Cynthia was lurking, her shadow watching like a predator. Wiz caught her hesitation. Are you worried about my fiancé? Don't be. Cynthia wants me to become the strongest in the academy. And she understands that teaming up with others is just strategy. This isn't about petty either. I don't waste my time saving students doomed to fail. But letting your talent go to waste, that would be foolish. Cardia was still unsettled, sensing something from the woods. She was here just a second ago, wasn't she? Wiz pressed on. Your flying magic is exceptional. Even seasoned mages struggle with it, and you wield it with real skill. Partnering with you isn't charity, it's the smartest choice for the exam. Just then, Cynthia revealed herself, stepping out with a sinister grin. Impressive. You sensed even faint traces of magic that Wiz himself didn't catch. Could it be your perception outstrips his dark key eye? Her words were sharp, but before Cardia could respond, another presence appeared. Lilith emerged from the shadows, making Cardia flinch. The next tag battle involves all 3 school years, Lilith explained, and it seems Wiz has chosen a unique plan, using someone with a special ability instead of partnering with me or Cynthia. Both of us can fight alone even against older students. You, however, bring something different. Cynthia smirked. I'll be pairing with Lilith. Lilith added, so you're free to join Wiz. Surrounded by their pressure, Cardia felt tears prick her eyes. Wiz, unfazed, gave his final push. That's why I want you as my partner. There's little time left, so we'll begin training immediately. With no other choice, Cardia nodded. Their training began, focused on flying magic. Why are you crying? Wiz teased as he tumbled to the ground. After another failed attempt, it's harder than it looks. But I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. Cardia muttered. You couldn't even stay in the air for 2 seconds before. She knew he didn't need to learn flying for the exam. She would carry him. But he insisted any skill can become a weapon if mastered. And since I have you as a teacher, why not learn now? Cardia was stunned at his persistence. Wiz added, sorry for dragging you into this. But tomorrow, during the exam, I promise I won't let you be expelled. Even after that, would you still help me train? His determination softened her. She giggled. Rumors really don't do you justice, do they? Everyone calls you a lazy, spoiled noble, but you're nothing like that. You're hardworking, curious, and relentless. In her heart, she thought, I want to be like him, like Weezin. Their efforts didn't go unnoticed. The homeroom teacher, standing before the academy's dean, Headmaster Gills, remarked, for an underclassman, Vincent's scores are almost unbelievable. More than half of the expelled students had been taken out by Wiz himself. The teacher nodded in acknowledgement. Wiz is remarkable, yes. But don't overlook the others in this year's class. For instance, Alan, Darius's apprentice. He kept rising back from near defeat over and over, and each time he came back stronger. Then there are 2 more who impress me greatly, Lilith and Cynthia. Their growth has been astonishing since enrollment. The 2 girls had been training recklessly, pushing themselves with no reinforcement gear and wielding real blades in deadly combat. That brutal regimen had sharpened them beyond recognition. When their training ended, they faced one another, catching their breath, and exchanged words. Lilith, you're incredible. Cynthia admitted. No, Cynthia-sama, you're the one who amazes me, Lilith replied. Cynthia's eyes hardened with resolve. I'm not content with just being by Wiz's side. I want to stand as his equal, proud and strong. Lilith's thoughts echoed the same determination. I want to grow stronger for Wiz-sama, strong enough that he can depend on me in any crisis. Both girls laughed softly together, yet beneath the laughter was fierce resolve. You're already strong enough, aren't you? One teased. Not compared to you, the other replied. In unison they concluded, anyway, our first goal is to drive that Cardia girl away from him. Their jealous rivalry made them seem more like yandere than comrades. Meanwhile, Cardia shivered in her room, unsettled by an unshakable chill. The morning of the exam arrived in full swing. Alan, Duke, and Cheryl stood together. All right, Duke said with a grin. Let fate decide. Rock, paper, scissors. Loser pairs with a random stranger. No complaints afterward. Cheryl sighed. You're always making such a fuss. Still, they raised their hands and played the game. Elsewhere, Wiz turned to Cardia. Now then, we'll be sent to Mount Garrion. Once we land, we stick to the plan. Target the upperclassmen with the highest points and bring them down first. Are you ready, Cardia? Yes, she answered firmly. A booming voice carried across the sky through a flying familiar. Attention, students. You've now been transported to your assigned starting points across the mountain. From this moment, the 3-year joint tag survival exam begins. Things were about to get serious. Meanwhile, far away, the protagonist's teacher, an infamous genius mage and merciless woman, had her own agenda. Fixing her gaze on Goldie Rogers, she muttered, So this pirate will be my opponent this time. Then, as if remembering something trivial, she mused, Oh right, I was supposed to apply for a teaching license at the Noblest Magic Academy. Completely slipped my mind.